Hi, welcome to The Stitch. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Pam. We're happy you're joining us today.
Yes, we are.
We're back 2 times in a month. The Stitch is an online quilting talk show. Join us as we chat about current topics in the quilting world, techniques to improve your own projects, and fun stories about our quilts.
Exactly. Our episodes come out twice a month now and are complemented by virtual sew-ins and weekly podcasts. Learn more about it at thestitchtvshow.com.
So today we're going to be talking about quilting, of course, sewing for gifts, and games the quilters play. So
games the quilters play. That's funny.
I know. I have a gift for the gab. So what you been doing?
Oh, I took a class from Jackie Gehring, which was fantastic. She came to one of the quilt guilds we're involved in, and she taught a class about improv piecing. And here's what I can tell you about improv piecing. It's hard. It is extremely difficult to do improv piecing.
It's hard to stitch things, or it is hard to design things?
It's the design of it that's difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can cut up a bunch of fabric and sew it together, but for it to look good,
that's a whole different beast.
That's a whole other beast to it. And I found that I spent a lot of time in class, doing her technique and then standing back and looking at it. And there was a lot of I don't know, it was much more difficult design process than, oh, this is the block I want to do. Just sew up, 15 of those, and now we've got a quilt,
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's up my alley at all. Like, I would like to make a quilt. Sew some things, there's a quilt.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a much more. So when you go and look at improv quilts and just go, oh, they just sewed a bunch of stuff together, you are missing it. You are missing the skill and the thought process that goes into it. Definitely incredibly difficult. So it was for it to look good.
I would
incredibly
say,
difficult.
In order to prove the point, would you consider doing one where you just have your scraps and sew them together without thought, and then one where you design it and compare them side by side to prove the point?
I did that. One of the other classes I took from an improv quilter, that was their technique. I don't want to tell it who it was because I didn't really enjoy the class, so I don't want to disparage this person. And it was just take a bunch of fabric, cut it up, sew it together, and then we're going to put it in there. And it was horrible. It was awful. And this is sad, but I put some borders on it and I gave it to...
I know which one that is.
I gave it to a charitable organization.
Because it will keep someone warm.
Because it will keep someone warm. And in the dark, you can't tell that it looked that bad.
Well, and as I always say, if you don't like it, flip it over to the back.
Yeah, exactly. So
quilts have 2 sides, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Shocking news. Rocks the quilt world.
So the way she explained how to do improv quilting, I think broke it down in such a great way where it's accessible to a novice. I'm not an improv quilter. Definitely a novice in that. Mm-hmm. But I have an artist's eye. I definitely, look at stuff and look at it from an artist standpoint. And it was difficult. And I think it's, part of that journey is finding your voice and what you want things to look at and what looks good to you and that kind of stuff. And, that improv quilting challenges that, I think, in a lot of ways. It was a great class. I would take her classes again. Couldn't believe how much I enjoyed her in the class. And her lecture was fantastic. It's wonderful to get to know. Like, we got to have dinner with her, and she was just a lovely person. Mm-hmm. It was a very enjoyable class. Recommend Jackie Gehring. Take her class. It was a great
10
class.
10 out of 10 would class again.
Yeah. Yeah. And she, and a brave person, too, because... this happened at our guild. She had a family tragedy that happened the night before she had to speak at the day guild. And I think it's one of the most brave lectures I've ever heard. Just because of emotionally, I knew where she was and what had happened. And I'm not going to go into that, but wow, just so much respect for her. Amazing, brave woman. And her quilts are so... I mean, she's a minimalist. She will tell you that. Mm-hmm. And her quilts are so thought-provoking and graphic, and they draw you in, and and you would be surprised because they are a minimalism. I mean, it's minimalism, but it's minimalism by somebody's at their best. And she just started quilting in 2009. I'm like, oh my gosh, look how fantastic she is. And she's been quilting, 7 years?
Well, I think it's
incredible.
You can, I don't want to say get away with, but that's the phrase I'm going to use. You can get away with minimalism if you have the quality behind it to back it up.
Oh, she does.
So doing a minimalist design without the artistic eye, or without a quality of material that reflects the thoughtfulness of the design.
Right.
Just slapping up some
squares and going, ooh.
Minimalist. Which is my impression of 80s art, where it's like a white canvas and a red square, and that's art. I'm like, that's not, I don't get it. Like, if that's not my aesthetic.
Yeah.
And
but
so
she's fantastic instructor. Loved her. Thought she was brave, extremely brave in her presentation just from that day. But I would take her again. Loved it. She unfortunately had to cancel the class you were going to take. So sorry, because she needed to get out of town to go with the family.
Yeah, which ironically was about piecing hexagons. And if you saw the last episode, the quilt that I designed was pieced hexagons. So I'm like, well, let me go pick up some more tips on this. But unfortunately, it got canceled. Sorry. It's okay. I spent my time fruitfully in other ways.
You did.
Designing the quilt behind us.
Da-da-da. Yes.
Speaking of minimalism.
Yes, I love that quilt.
Yeah. So we'll show some close-ups at the break. But this is our newest pattern, You Spin Me Right Round. It is pre-cut strip friendly.
It makes you want to dance.
It does.
I think.
And it's fun, and I don't want to say it goes quick, because there is a point where you're like, I'm never going to be done sewing all these strips, for crying out loud.
I think that's true with the jelly roll race, don't you? Like when you do a jelly roll race, you're like, oh my God, when is this going to be done?
Yeah.
Especially those first 4 seams.
When it's just
take forever.
800 inches.
Yeah.
800 inches. Ugh.
Ugh.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
So what have you been doing?
Well, no, that's what I was doing. I was doing this.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that thing that I just said 3 minutes ago? Do we need to rewind
So
it?
we're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about?
We are going to dive into talking about sewing gifts for people.
It is that time of year. You got to start sewing gifts now.
Okay, we're not talking about quilts. Obviously, we talk about quilts all the time. This is a little different. This is smaller gifty items, whether they're for quilters or for muggles, the non-quilters in the world.
Because not everybody deserves a quilt.
That is true. Some people deserve a $20 gift card and a handmade gift card holder.
There you go.
Which shows a nice, I thought of you enough to make this thing for you. And here's $20. Because
and here's the gift card.
I know you're just going to throw this in the trash. Or you're just going to leave it awkwardly hanging on the Christmas tree, like maybe it's an ornament, which has happened to me before.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you gave them a gift card thing and they just put it back on the tree?
Yeah.
Did it have a hanger on it?
Yeah, that's how they hung it on the tree.
That's funny.
And then, we have a large family on my husband's side, and I get it. And admittedly, it was for, I think it was a nephew, so a teenager, who was just like,
yeah, they don't know.
But then I would say, give it to your mom, and absolutely re-gift it, because what are you gonna do with it? Ta-da! Put it up on your wish board.
No, but teenagers have cards, like ID cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, but not with grosgrain ribbon on it, to hang it on a Christmas tree.
True.
So,
okay.
yeah, I was not offended by that. Because I'm like, yeah, whatever, teenager. But reuse it in that case. That was kind of the intention there.
Yeah. So, all right. So what other gifts do you do?
So gift card holders, quite frequent, because it, conveys, hey, I was thinking about you enough to make a thing, but not fully committed to making you a thing. I mean, when it comes to non-quilters, honestly, I kind of let it be dictated by the person. So quite frequently, my mom, who is delightful, is like, oh, I happen to see a pattern. I'm like, send it to me. I'll make it for you for your birthday or Christmas or whatever holiday. Mom. Yeah. So
she picks out her gifts.
Yeah.
Like, I want this.
Or she'll be like,
here's your pattern.
Your dad needs new covers for his golf shoes, which, okay, yeah, it's not It's not like a lifetime
But it's
commitment to golf shoe
something
covers.
that they would do and
But I know
enjoy.
that we can make it out of fun fabric. Like if you buy golf shoe covers, which is, you could use shower caps, you know, because you got grass on your cleats and all that, and you stick it in your trunk, you got grass in your trunk. So you use shower caps, which are pearlescent pink, which is not my dad's design aesthetic, by the way.
Really?
I know, shocking. So
He was only in the military. I'm just saying.
for a while, you know,
Glow in the dark pink. Frou-frou.
I've used like golf print fabric, you know,
Oh,
novelty
yeah,
print.
that would be good.
So, which is cute, but like, if I get a request to do that again, I might just use some cat fabric just to mix it up. Cats.
That would be funny.
He would love it. He
He
loves
would think
cats.
it's funny. He would think it's funny. Well, I pulled some gifts that people have given me.
Oh.
I know. So this is not quilted, but it's folded, and it's a Christmas ornament,
Yeah.
which I really like. I think it's super cute.
And I think this works too if you have a smaller, like store-bought something and you make a handmade thing to go
You can
with
put
it.
it on top of the present or whatever.
Yeah, my mother-in-law is very good about giving, well, giving everyone in the family an ornament with their name on it every year. So you can't regift it. Well, I could regift it to my sister-in-law, Pam. Sorry. Which is super fun at Christmas when sometimes you get double gifts and sometimes you get no gifts.
Oops.
So everyone gets an
'Cause
ornament.
It's not like Pam C.
Right. Because in our house, we can't use curling ribbon because we've got cats and they'll eat it. And then that does not end well.
No, I
That
can
is not a
imagine.
story appropriate for this show. There was a lot of Lysol involved.
Anyway.
So, but having a nice, fun, handmade touch just to a store-bought gift. Like, get them
Right.
a coffee mug, which, I don't know. I got enough coffee mugs. But, although I do keep
But
breaking them.
you could do the mug rug and then the
Right.
the wrapper thing around it.
So this is a mug rug
You know,
that
the
I
thing
was...
that goes around the coffee.
Oh, yeah, the little insulator thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, if you don't need it, if you don't have a pattern for that, go to Starbucks,
And get one.
buy a coffee. Don't just grab the
No,
free stuff.
steal the. No, I'm
Don't
kidding.
just steal the cardboard wrapper thingy and use that as a pattern. Make sure you add in a seam allowance. But to a mug rug, I mean, that could be a 4x6 postcard size. It could be, this is, I think, closer to
It could
6x8.
be that size.
And
That's
this is
cute.
actually one I got in a swap, which is another benefit from guilds. We forgot to talk about in our last show, was you could participate in swaps.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love this one even more because it was a blind swap. So you just made a thing and put it in the pile and pulled them out. And lo and behold, on the back is Star Wars fabric. So go me with my awesome picking power.
That was picking power,
Yeah.
very much so. This is a keychain someone made for me who
Okay.
is super talented because you'll notice all the little flying
Tiny.
geese are tiny. I mean, this is what, an inch and a half.
But what if you're
Wide.
intimidated by hardware? Like that is paralyzing for quilters that are used to only working with fabric when it comes to things with hardware, like coin purses or
This is
keychains.
honestly, you put the two ends there and you press down and you're done. There's no hardware massiveness.
So you're saying it's not as scary as it looks.
It's not as scary as it looks.
Where would
at
one
all.
buy such hardware?
Should
Should we Google that?
Google it? Because I'm not sure where she got this.
Oh, you did.
I think I've seen these at quilt stores though, just the hardware.
Some at quilt stores. I think there's a lot of independent Etsy sellers that do provide supplies. That's worth looking at as well. Particularly if you're not in the U.S., where I know sometimes these are harder to source. So look for a local Etsy seller as well.
And I always like bags.
Bags are cute.
Bags
a
are
little coin
cute.
purse, a little zipper
This
pouch.
is a twin zip, so there's zippers on both sides,
Now what?
which is great for like your readers or scissors or. I thought I had some readers in here.
No.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
Fun little.
fun. So another fun thing. We have a family history on my mom's side of like weird and interesting gifts, and some of the most favorite gifts I remember getting as a kid, or honestly as an adult, because one of them was stuffed full of money. So Grandma Eddie, one year for Christmas, I don't know, I think it was before dollar stores, but got just a ton of like little tchotchke figurine things. So like Smurfs are big, so there were Smurf figurines. And she started with kind of the prize in the middle and started wrapping crepe paper around
Oh,
it.
I've seen that.
And then you kind of wrap in other smaller things. So you could wrap in a gift card and just you get this big ball and you're like, thanks for the basketball. And then lo and behold, no, it's a thing you get to unwrap and totally drive your pets nuts because they're like, look at all the paper. But that's kind of a
seen
fun
people
thing.
do
So you
that.
could wrap in notions. Maybe if you do pins, leave them in the package so you don't stick someone in the hand.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But when I think of zipper pouches and giving those as gifts, I've done that frequently for school-age kids because they always need a pencil pouch.
Yeah, this would be great for a pencil pouch.
But if it's, for a relative where you normally do more than this level of gift, if the average gift to our nieces and nephews tends to be between, $20 to $30. So then you just get a bunch of like $1 bills and crumple them up and stuff them in there.
That's
It's a
good.
big wad of cash.
That'd be good. Pin cushions.
Yeah, those are good for quilters. Like I wouldn't give a pin cushion to a non-sewer because they'd be like, thanks for the tiny
Thanks
stool.
for the pin cushion, stupid.
For my squirrel outside.
So I took a class last year. It was an all-day sewing thing. It was a class, but it was an all-day sewing thing.
It was at a shop, right?
It was at a shop. And the whole point of it is they had taken, what's the name of the magazine? It comes out about this time of year, and it's like gifts for people. It's like quick gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And so they took 5 different gifts out of the magazine, and they kitted them all up. And so we sewed on those gifts all day. We'd make the purse, and then we made table runner, and then we made there was 3 or 4 other things that we made. So anyway, I've made 2 of these now, and this was my favorite purse that we made, and it's a quick handbag. So you would do the longer thing through here. So it's not and it's just the same. It's inside out.
It's reversible.
Right? Dun dun dun.
Suddenly the pie appears out of the oven. Already done.
So, but there's no hardware on it.
Oh, yeah.
There's no zippers on it. It's a half a yard of fabric.
Is it a half a yard of each fabric, or?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's a half a yard of each fabric.
I'm going to say it's slightly bigger than a fat quarter to get both sides out.
Yep.
One-sided purses do not work well. All your stuff falls out.
But it's a quick little,
yeah,
cute bag that people can use to. I actually carry all my hand sewing in this.
What I love about patterns like this is it gives you a chance to use big print fabric that otherwise you're like, I don't want to cut it up.
All People Quilt. That's where this came.
Okay.
All People Quilt.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But super easy, fun, little bag that was easy to sew and done in a day. I mean, in a few hours. And then I think big zipper pouches are fun.
Yes. So this is good if you've got bigger blocks. So I know there are a ton of...
And she put my initials on it.
Ooh.
Not cute.
So a lot of the 8-bit art that's, pixelated. So there are Mario Brothers blocks that are floating out there in the world.
Those would be
Any
cute.
of the pixelated designs.
Pokemon.
Because I did one of the Mario Brothers with like 1-inch squares, which sounds crazy, but you do it on an interfaced back. So you stick everything down and then you just fold and sew it over. So you're not piecing together tiny little squares. And I made her a big zipper pouch out of the pixelated Mario.
I think bags are, I don't know, maybe I'm a bag lady. I just love having little zipper bags everywhere. So, but those are 2 things that are quick and easy to do and nice gifts for people. But the other thing I was thinking from a quilter standpoint that is fun to give people is coloring books now are so big.
It feels like a lot of pressure. Because I just got one. I'm like, oh, now I got to color it. Ugh.
You don't have to color it. I just look at the designs a lot of times on, for quilting ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think the designs are good. And then I think, some notions are nice to give people, whether it's a box of the binding clips or some curved pins that we talked about the other night.
Yeah,
this big discussion about curved pins. So, and I don't have any, but apparently they're the bomb. And you should have them.
They're the block of the month?
No. Are they the block? What are you talking
about? BOM, block of the... I was being punny.
I was like, what? So, anyway, those are my ideas for notions. Any other thing? No.
Yeah. I'm like, do I have anything? No. So the one thing that our guild keeps talking about that like everyone sees everyone else having but no one has or made themselves are scissor fobs.
We need to do scissor fobs. Because how do you tell your scissors from somebody else's scissors when you go?
I never let them out of my clutches.
I
stab someone that tries to use them.
I take like strings, like scrap strings, and I tie them around one of the things. But that's not cute. I mean, it's tacky.
What else helps is that I'm left-handed, and someone picks mine up. They're like, "These are broken." No, haha, fooled you. They're mine because I'm left-handed.
But not all of them are left-handed scissors.
Yeah, the little like tiny applique ones.
Sorry, the tiny. I don't think I have them in here.
So, but what does scissor fobs mean? You mean like the little beaded things that come off, or do you mean? I was talking about maybe it's not the chatelaine, but the little thing that they slide into that you can wear around your neck. Oops, sorry, hit the mic.
No, I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about the thing that you put on the
handle.
So to identify them as yours.
Yes. So that is handy when you have a ton of extra beads from a previous crafting life. Like me.
No, it doesn't have to be beads. It could be a little tiny block.
Tiny block.
Yeah, like about this big.
So that's about 2 inches.
Yeah, maybe.
So
inch and a
yeah,
half.
go drive yourself bananas sewing a 2-inch.
No, I've seen them as like little tiny, where they're little pillows, and I've seen them cross stitched. Very
Oh.
cute. Way. I mean, that's love.
That's some hand
cross-stitch-
stitching right there.
That's some
That's a
hand
whole
stitching,
new
cross
level.
stitch love right there. But I've seen them, you know, and where they put cording around the edges of them and stuff. Fancy, very
That is
fancy.
very fancy.
Do you know how to make cording? Like with
Is this a trick
embroidery?
question?
No, I'm like embroidery, floss, cording, twisted cording. Have you ever done that?
I think I've used that technique with yarn on a bigger scale to make cat toys.
Yeah. Where you have to, yeah, it's a 2-people project.
Yeah.
You have to have somebody stand on the other side, and you
One-
twist
yeah.
it, twist it, twist it,
Yeah.
twist it, twist it, and it gets to the point where it
Twists up on itself.
twists
so
up on
yeah.
itself, and it's kind of cool.
Or you could not.
I've done it for cross stitch stuff.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
It was fun.
I think the last thing I cross stitched was something for my mom when I got married 16 years ago.
No, I cross stitch.
And then I was like, well, not going to top that. Tapping out.
I cross stitch not. I like cross stitch. I do. So, anyway.
So yes, fobs.
Fobs.
You?
Fobs.
Alrighty. So I think we are going to take a quick break. We're going to take a closer look at the quilt behind us, the You Spin Me Right Round, which is our newest pattern available on our site, shop.thestitchtv.com.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is games.
Games that quilters play. You know the ones that game the show and tell line. Like, oh, I'm going to make a laugh, so mine's the most important thing that they think of. And no, not those kind of games. We're talking about fun games.
Fun
to
games.
do if you belong to a guild, or if you go on a retreat, or if you just have a lot of free time. So,
because you need to do something. So, what kind of games do you play at quilt retreats?
so honestly, I will say that it's either at retreats or sometimes in the summer. Actually, some guilds take the summer off because people are traveling and attendance is down. But what one of our, the Modern Quilters Guild tends to do is do just some game-focused meetings in the summer. Make it a little fun, a little light, and that way there's not a ton of like, oh, I missed the best speaker. Like, no, we were playing Quilto. So Quilto's one. Now that does require an investment because it is a bingo game, essentially, where you have to buy the cards and the tokens that you draw and all that stuff. So bingo-like game, and then the way we run it at the Modern Guild is everyone gets one game card just for showing up. And if you want to play additional cards, you bring in a fat quarter for each additional card. And so that fat quarter you bring in gets thrown into the pot. And then that is kind of the grand prize at the end. And that's usually a blackout game. So for bingo, that means you've covered every square on your board. So that one's fun.
I've never won that.
So sometimes we happen to meet at a shop. Sometimes they donate prizes to us. Sometimes other members buy prizes, or the guild has budget to buy. And they're smaller prizes. It could be a pattern. It could be,
fat quarters,
charm packs, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
small-ish amount. It's not like we're playing for a car,
No.
And the grand prize is like the bucket of fat quarters. So that's a fun one if you've got access to it. And even if you have a regular bingo game set, like if you're friendly with the local VFW or church groups that put it on, you could borrow their cards and just tell everyone to pretend that bingo is actually spelled QILT.
Oh.
Ta-da! Well, no, then that's too many letters.
Oh, right. Math is hard. And apparently spelling.
Yes. We're adding to the list.
Which is true. I'm horrible at spelling.
So another game that we've played, the left-right game, which again requires a little bit of prep work.
I don't like
but
left-right game.
It's a little pressure-filled. So the left-right game, there is a caller, so someone that reads a story that has a lot of the words left and right.
Oh, no, I like the left-right game. I was thinking it was left-right center.
Oh, that's a different one. We'll talk about that one next.
Okay, sorry.
So
I like the left-right
game.
game.
Everyone that's playing sits in a circle, and you have one thing. So it's a charm pack, it's a fat quarter, it's whatever. And so when the story's read and you get the word right, you pass to the right. And when the story, left, you pass to the left. And sometimes they're back to back, and it's like left, right, or right, right, and so
Like Mr. Right went to his house and turned left, and then after he looked right into the.
he saw his wife left cookies, and so
Yeah.
that kind of. And you can Google those stories and find them. They're kind of, and you can adapt them. They don't have to be quilt themed. Lots of times we play it at the holiday party.
Yeah,
for
and
our
it's
guild.
more holiday themed. Yeah,
but that's not a requirement. But that way everyone's a winner, which is nice. And it's more of a way to organize a swap without having to get into like drawing numbers and
making people mad because I'm sorry, that game I don't like.
Well, it's a different game.
Well, I know, but that's where you put them all on the table and you go draw a number and then you steal from other people.
So that's left, right, center, which is a dice game.
That's a different game. I'm talking about when you do a swap at the meeting.
Oh, that's a Dirty Santa.
Dirty Santa. I don't like Dirty Santa.
Or a White Elephant sometimes.
I don't like either one of those games because I don't like where I got a prize. Look, I may hate it, but I got a prize, and then you can come steal it. That's not right.
Well, the stealing, and then sometimes it's the.
Please take it.
I love it. Would you like it?
Don't you want to take this one? I there's too many hurt feelings that I think can happen.
I can see that.
I don't. That game always makes me uncomfortable. Because I don't want to see people be disappointed. And
so if you don't have Lynn at your party, you can play that one.
I don't want to see people disappointed, and I don't want to see you stealing stuff from other people because that's not nice.
Right.
So I don't like the Dirty Santa game.
Yeah, I don't think we've done that at Guild in a while, just for that
reason.
In a while,
yes. Because I've been on the board going, I don't think
it's not right.
It's not right.
We still do that in my family, though. But that's because we pick purposely bad gifts.
Well, then everybody's in on the joke.
Except the one, except the one family member that's like, I'm above all this, and they just bring like a nice gift card to the movie theater. Then everyone fights for that because they don't want the leather embossed wallet that says bad A ... M ... F ... Which then to my husband, like, go get that. Go steal that for me. Or the giant hunting knife. Or one of my sisters-in-law works for a ham company, and then we all fight over who gets the brisket from the ham company. So it's very interesting. Christmas at that house.
Okay, I can see where that would work. It would. Okay, so left, right, center.
Left, right, center
is a dice
game.
Is a
dice game, and it's not necessarily intended for quilters. You can find it in the game section at any. I've seen it at pretty much any big box.
It's still not. I don't like. I apparently don't like any of these games because I don't really like this game either.
Let me talk. So you get 3 sets of dice. So everyone shows up with 3 of whatever you're swapping. Typically, it's fat quarters, and so you start with 3 fat quarters. And the first person takes the dice and rolls it. And it could either be, you can roll a left, a right, or a center. So if you roll a left, you have to pass something to the person on the left.
Only you.
Not
everybody.
If there's a right that you roll, you pass something to the person on the right. And there's also like a circle, which is a keep. Or if you roll a center, you throw something into the center pot. And that is the massive kitty at the end that everyone's trying to win. If you roll a keep, then you just keep all your stuff. So if you get, a left, a right, and a keep, you pass one to the left, one to the right, and you're left with one. And essentially this keeps going until, as soon as you pass out all your fat quarters, you're kind of out. Now, you don't leave the game yet because someone could pass something back to you.
Right. And I've seen people do like, oh, I'm done, and leave. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You're still in.
So you keep rolling until you get enough things in the center, and the last person left holding a fat quarter wins everything. So it's appealing to that person.
Right.
But it could be kind of disappointing, like, oh, great. I brought
everybody else in the world and loses.
Now, I will say the last few times we've played, the person that wins is kind of like, well, these are the 4 that I really want, and everyone else can just, feel free to pick what you want.
Yeah.
And they'll take whatever's left. So they've been gracious winners.
Gracious winners. There's another one, and I looked for it. I've got it, and it's a dice game that's made for quilters. And it's kind of based on the left, right, center dice game. Only everybody wins. Okay. It just gets shuffled around. Like, you don't end up with the same fat quarters you brought. But I couldn't find it.
Probably just left, right,
it's called
keep.
Quilters Dice.
Okay.
I think that's what it was called.
Catchy marketing right there.
Exactly. I think what somebody did is they didn't like the left, right, center game, and they felt like this was a way to share the fabric, where everybody's getting
Okay, cool.
kind of thing. But you have something written on yours because I'm looking at your notes that I don't know this game.
Truth or dare?
I mean, I know Truth or Dare, but I don't know how to do it with quilters. Maybe I don't want to do.
Challenge accepted. No, I wrote it down because it's a generic game that you could apply to quilting. So
okay, so I don't know. How
so
to
your
apply
truth
this
could be
to
like, tell me about the ugliest quilt you've ever made, or tell me about, you know, the worst quilt giving experience you've ever
what
had.
kind of dare? See, in my mind, Truth or Dare is a teenage coming of age.
No, but the dare
daring
is
somebody to kiss somebody. You know, that's Truth or Dare. That's when we played Truth or Dare.
So,
I mean, played Truth or Dare as an adult.
So the dare, I mean, honestly, it could be adjusted to the scale. So, like, I dare you to make a quilt outside your comfort zone. So I want you to go and make, you know, whatever I know is going to make you cringe as a quilter. Like, for me, it would be like, I go improv piece something. Like, oh, God.
You do improv piecing. You would be fine.
But I'm much more in the, I'm just going to sew all this stuff together and there it is. But it's not in the teenage go make bad decisions sort of dare. Okay. It's in the pushing someone outside their comfort zone.
Like, I remember that game as being,
I dare you to cut my pieces. And then you feel super like, oh, I don't want to mess up Pam's pieces.
Oh, see, no, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I just, whatever. I'm good.
And then I improv piece it because it's jacked up.
I dare you two to, and somebody probably did that to us. I dare you two to make a quilt together. We're fine with that. Okay. Except for I quilt too much. She thinks I quilt too much.
You do.
It looks good, though. You're not convinced. It looks good.
There's not much done of it, so I can't really tell.
It's a third done. I had to get more thread.
So that's more, you could take any of these games, honestly, that are tabletop games, I mean, and just play them at quilt retreats. And you're not limited to quilt-themed games. Just because you're at a quilt retreat doesn't mean that you can't take a break.
You can still play some Uno.
You can play some Uno.
Or some spades. I like spades.
Some Flux.
Ooh, Flux. I love Flux. That is a great game.
The Pirate Edition. That is amazing. You get extra cards if you speak with a pirate accent.
Which I would totally get extra cards.
There's a regular show game, which is a cartoon. Because I have kids, I'm familiar with this, where if you speak like one of the characters, you get to draw an extra card. So, I mean, they're fun things where they're kind of...
Flux is a great game because one of the rules of Flux is if anybody comes down and sits at your table and wants to play and you've already started, you have to deal them in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's like you deal them in whenever they want to come sit down and they start playing right then. It's a great game in that it's very open in all its rules, but it's a lot to keep up with, and it's a great game. I love Flux.
Yeah. A lot of good tabletop games are appropriate for retreats. Now, not the ones that are going to take forever to play. Like, don't start a D&D campaign. It's going to take 10 hours at your retreat because you're not going to be able to, like, actually work on quilts. You're going to be worried about killing a Demogorgon. Just saying. Demogorgons don't care.
I don't think I've ever been concerned about that. I've never played a D&D game. What other games? I love games, though. I love card games. And, like, we played spades all the time in college. That was my game, with spades.
I played spoons a lot more. There's a lot of linoleum burns involved. Possibly some injuries, black eye or two.
With spoons?
Spoons! Well, you got to grab the spoon, and there was a lot of tackling involved,
right.
Possibly because I was at a male-dominated college. I don't know. We thought that. Sorry, Mom.
We played spades. We played rummy. I played rummy a lot.
Canasta?
I don't know how to play canasta.
Oh, Grandma Eddie taught me.
Yeah, the lady who tried to teach me how to play canasta, I swear to you, changed the rules.
Double
She'd
decks.
be like, oh, no, you can't do that. There's this.
Oh, there's another one. I can't remember the real name of it. We called it Denver because whenever you got a certain thing in your hand, you're supposed to yell out a thing, and we could never remember what it was, so we just yell out Denver. So if I can remember what that game's actually called, I'll put it in the show notes, but if I just put down Denver, that's not going to be helpful to people.
So I like card games.
Yeah.
So we should make up card. We should, if there's anybody out there that has other games that quilters can play, because sometimes you do need a break at retreats.
Yeah, just a break in the energy, and which you can get while you're eating, you know, which happens quite a lot at retreats in my experience. But it's a different flow to get everyone still involved with each other, which is helpful too if you've got newer quilters to the group, like we told in our last episode, and you just sort of walk in and be like, well, I'm here for your retreat, ladies. You know, and it's a good way to get everyone involved if they want to play.
Yeah. So play some games at your retreats. It's fun. Or at guild
Pin
meetings.
the tail on the pin cushion.
I don't know how you do that.
Well, you could do it as pin the block on the quilt, where you just put up all your blocks on a design wall, and someone has to blindfolded like pin the block in the empty space.
Okay, here's my problem with pinning the tail on the donkey or pin the block on the quilt. Is one, you're making me sick before I ever get to play the stupid game. Because the whole point, maybe it was just torturous as a kid, but the whole point was them spinning you around, and I'm a motion sickness person. So by the time I'm spun around, I'm like, oh my God. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody then.
Is that better or worse than a pinata full of seam rippers that are like sharp daggers raining down on you?
With rotary blades. That would not be
Maybe not
Quilters
that.
games. That would be Game of Thrones.
Yes. The Red Retreat.
Exactly. Exactly. Winter is coming. It's a whole different meaning.
Well, thank goodness we've got quilts.
Exactly.
Winter's coming.
Winter's coming. So that would not be good. Yeah, because I never liked those. They did them in summer. They did it at camps too, where you had to put your head on the baseball bat.
No, man.
You span around, and then you had to run up and down. I'm like, that's just not even fun. That's like torturous. You make me sick before I even get. Ugh. Not fun.
I think
so. Let's play some fun games at the quilt retreat. What are you seeing?
I'm seeing deep into why Lynn doesn't like any games.
I bet
any quilter games.
I know I do like games. Like I'm really good at games. I am good at games. I like Trivial.
Games.
I like Trivial Pursuit.
Oh. You're welcome.
Why do you not like Trivial Pursuit?
It's okay. I know
I think you would be really good at it.
But certain categories. I know so little about sports, which I always like, great, another orange wedge. Ugh.
Oh no, that's not where that gets me. Geography is my weakest link. Yeah, I'm horrible at geography. I will beat Mike. I will get all the pies, get to the center. He still has like 5 pies to go. And he asked me a geography question. He does that every time, and he'll end up beating me. What other game? Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride's a great game. If you played that,
we have it. We haven't played it yet.
Oh, you gotta play Ticket to Ride. Ticket to Ride's fun. So, anyway, all right. So Quilter, I need to know other games though for quilt. I'm not playing Truth or Dare. I just, that's got bad like kid memories. I don't want to play that game. Well, you know how you talked about your 80s thing last show, the show before last, show we did at the.
Yeah, but I've had a good number of years of therapy to help me get past all that.
Well, I think that Truth or Dare is kind of like,
I never had good truth. Okay.
No,
Who's your secret crush? It's not a secret.
Yeah, no, where they
By the
dared
way,
you to kiss somebody you didn't want to kiss.
Oh, I Googled my 5th grade crush. Well,
you Googled
to quote Garth Brooks, thank God for unanswered prayers. Bless his heart.
Bless his heart.
Much like I tried to Google my 5th grade best friend, can't find her. I think she was a Russian spy because she is gone.
Maybe she's on Facebook.
She's not there.
No. All right.
We'll probably have to redact this entire episode.
That'll be a first, since we don't do that.
Ooh.
So, all right. Well,
that'll quilt out.
All right. So when you play games, we're suggesting not Game of Thrones quilting because that sounds dangerous.
No Red Retreat.
No Red Retreat because people die.
I think the key thing is
everybody dies.
If you're doing it at a retreat, you want it to be kind of quick, break up the energy, help everyone get reinvigorated, but don't have it take like, a 3-hour thing. Unless, there are certain quilters that may want to do that, where they go to the retreat not just for, sewing things, but more for the social thing. Whereas I'm there and like, sweet, 48 hours to quilt. I'm only going to sleep 6 of those. Let's go. Everything 45.
That's true. She does.
However much math there is.
I think I do too, though. I think I usually sew the whole time.
42 hours of sewing. I might take out half an hour to, eat and go to the bathroom. Might do those simultaneously to save some time. And then I went back to sewing.
It just doesn't sound right. That does not sound right. I'm sorry. There are things you need to do separately. Going to the bathroom and eating is one of those things. Just saying.
You clearly have not embraced a working from home lifestyle.
I worked from home for years, and I kind of
Maybe
do
not
now.
efficiently, according to what I'm hearing.
Okay.
You keep stabbing
so,
things with that pen. I'm
I
going to take
know.
it personally.
I know. Sorry. I play with stuff. Have you not noticed that?
Yes.
Like I'm always
And
playing
yet,
with things.
not with the quilting games.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, stop it.
Okay. Go ahead. Today, the show is brought to you by 77 Beaches Enterprises. Your
Oh my gosh.
one-stop shop.
Here we go again. We'd like to thank
support
77 Peaches Big Think Productions Cotton Art Studio and Nifty Be a Square for being part of The Stitch. You can find links to those sites on our show site, thestitchtvshow.com. If you're interested in sponsoring the show, because we are gosh darn professional, please email us at info@thestitchtvshow.com. That's all we've got for this episode. If you'd enjoyed the show, please like it on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, and share it with your friends. Due to some technical difficulties not related to the fact that Lynn can't speak, we've got some scheduling conflicts for our September sew-in. So the next one will be October 14th, 7 to 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern. You can see it on YouTube, Google+, and my podcast, Tip to Be a Square, will come out every Friday. You can email us with questions or comments at info@thestitchtvshow.com. All those details and more can be found at our website, thestitchtvshow.com. Tune in next time for more quilting chat with friends.